Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with Ellen Whealton. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so
Oh,
excited.
Ellen, I'm so excited to meet you. I was lucky enough that Lilia sent me information about you, and I'm fascinated with sound healing and everything. But first, I wanted to talk to you because I got to meet you because of my association with ions. So
Yeah.
that's why I wanted to ask the first question
Hey.
is your story, because you have incredible connections to source that you gained through your experiences. So would you share a little bit about that while I invite some people to the show?
Yeah, I would love to. First of all, I'm so happy to be here, and I'm happy to share my story. I am a survivor of a head injury, and I had a near-death experience as a child. I was 12 years old,
Wow.
and I was kicked in the head by a horse. I used to ride lessons, and it was my first Western lesson after riding English.
Oh.
The horse actually kicked me in the temple, and I was in a coma for 5 days. So it was from there, though, that I had this miraculous and beautiful experience of light and love and connection. And I got to actually speak with Source and choose to come back. So I can tell a little bit about that if you want. I'm going to go right into it.
Sure.
Yeah, so when I was in the coma, it was a darkness, obviously, but I don't really remember much of that. What I remember is being all of a sudden on this wooden raft. And this wooden raft, I had 2 spirit guides with me. One I knew to be Jesus, because I grew up knowing Jesus in my family. And then there was a spirit guide on my left, and he was young and bald and had long brown robes on down to his feet. And I'll tell you who he was later, because I found out who he was.
Wow.
And I was on this pink cloud, right? So it was a pink cloud, and I felt very protected and very safe and very loved. And we communicated through our thoughts. And from there, I had this experience of being there and feeling safe, and then being taken into this place of light. And that is where I really experienced being connected with love. And I remember first getting there and seeing the light and the colors and hearing music and being very aware of things on a sensory level, like really understanding and being where I was. And then all of a sudden, I just became the love. I felt wrapped in love, like there was this warm, weighted blanket of love surrounding my body. And then my body, there was no body. I just became the love, and nothing else mattered. It was just being a part of that love and light and absolute, unconditional, amazing experience. And then I was taken back to the raft, and I was shown many things and given many messages, including my family's lives on the planet. And then many things. I was told many things, and I'll share those with you too, but I was given a choice to come back. And I remember being so filled with gratitude, but also wanting to stay. Like I felt like, oh, I love that feeling. I want to stay. But then I decided, no, I get this chance to live and use this story and share this story with other people and help other people. I choose to live. And I told them I want to go back and heal people with music. That was what I said. And I communicated that. And I also promised that every day I would give thanks for this life and being able to be here. And my heart swelled. And then I went into another kind of darkness. And this is where it gets really cool. I saw a music staff in the distance. And there was a different color note for each staff. I remember that very clearly. But I couldn't hear anything. I could just see this music staff off in the distance. And it got closer and closer and closer and bigger. And I was watching the music almost as if it was animated, just moving. And then it's like the staff went through me, and then I heard a tiny sound. It was like a pinprick of sound. The hardest thing that I could do was to connect to that sound, and I realized it was music. And so I pulled the music in louder and louder. Very difficult to pull myself to the music and pull the music to me. And then it got louder and louder in my head, and then I opened my eyes and I was in the ICU, and the nurse ran over and they called it a miracle. They said no one in the state of Texas other than one other child had lived through this kind of head injury. I mean, it was, I was walking, I was talking. The only thing is that I lost all memory before that. So everything before the head injury was gone, but my life started then, right? So,
Yeah.
and then the messages that I received, I have shared those over time, but I'd love to share with you more about who the other guides were. But anyway, that's my story in a nutshell.
Well, this is great. Well, I actually took English writing. That could have been my story, because of course I've fallen off a horse before. But that's fascinating. So what do you remember? Were you able to tell your parents, or was it? I mean, because people think you're crazy right now.
Yeah,
you can talk about it, and we're talking about it like it's, well, everyone knows about this because there's so many cool books and so many people like you have told their stories. But you were 12.
I was 12.
Yeah. What happened with that?
Tell you, I learned very quickly who I could tell and couldn't tell, because so many people would say it was a dream and it wasn't real. And I actually internalized that and believed that it was a dream for a long time. Not really a dream, but then sometime when I was in my 30s, I decided, I told my youth pastor and like my best friends, and people knew it about me. And my life path never changed. I knew from the moment I woke up from that coma that I was going to use music for healing, but I didn't know how. But I stayed true to that promise my entire life, and I still do. Everything that I do in my life has to come back to that moment. It has to be in alignment with that place. And if it doesn't fit, I don't bring it into my life. I don't bring it into my practice. So I've lived a life of intention from that day forward. I can say that, and it has shaped me. So in my 30s, I decided this experience was so huge for me, and it created me. It's who I am. I'm not going to hide that from anyone. And so that's when I started to be vocal and realizing that this story is a gift, and what happened to me is a gift, and I can share it, and I can give people the messages that I received on that raft, and I can tell them, and maybe they can use it for their life. Right.
So, well, I think everyone has, I mean, they talk about the veil between 3D to 5D or 4D to 5D or however you want to call it. But I kept saying that probably it started in 2012, but we're not in the box anymore.
Nope.
And if we use our imagination, we're powerful creators, but we kind of stop ourselves because of social constructs, or being afraid that you'll do it wrong and you don't want to hurt anyone, all of that stuff. But if we use our imagination and request and do it with love, a lot of cool things can happen that'll help a lot of people, and everybody can do it. It's not like only you can do it, right? No. Everybody can do it.
Exactly. These messages are not for me, they're for all of us. And I see that as being a huge gift that I can just share it, and people can use it as they wish, right? And we all can do that. We all have this ability to tap in. That's one of the messages that I received, that we are all here for a reason. Every single one of us has purpose and meaning and something that we can bring to help others on this planet, right? So that's one of the big things. And if anyone can hear anyone's story and connect to that message, then it's a powerful thing. A lot of people ask me, how do I find my purpose? How do I find it? And it's again, through that release and to higher self, to source, and connecting in and just asking, where would you have me go? Right. Raising our frequency like that. Yeah. This is my work, is raising frequency through music and sound vibration and essential oils if you don't have access to that, and visualization and practices of release and breathing. So yes, absolutely.
Well, I do a lot of work also with helping people find their purpose. So I understand, and I think that we've made it, it's at least in America. I don't know that it's an international thing, but in America, you know, it's this drive to achieve instead of drive to be really happy and bring joy. So as far as the music, do you use all different kinds of modalities for music? What kinds of music do you bring in for healing?
Well, I came out of the coma to classical music, and I know that it's been well studied. And when I went to a graduate school for transpersonal counseling, psychology, and music therapy, and the beauty of that is that I was able to learn how to bridge spiritual beings in with their conscious choices and present day, right? So, and that's kind of cool too. When I went to my school, which is Naropa, which is founded as a Buddhist university in Boulder.
I live in Boulder.
Yeah. So that's where I went to school. I went to Naropa.
Okay.
They had a dual master's in music therapy and transpersonal counseling, and I did that back in 2000. And when I walked in to, you know, it's very heavily based in meditation and presence practices. Right. And when I walked in, I remember I was going to one of my meditation classes, and I saw this depiction of a young Buddha, and he was young and bald and had long brown robes on. And I recognized that he was the man to my left.
Oh my God.
Yes. So it was kind of a full circle moment at that time where I realized, oh, I'm meant to be here. This is meant to happen. This is where I'm supposed to be. And so now that practice of presence and mindfulness and connection are really powerful. And that's what I bring into my practice. But to answer your question, while I was at Naropa, I learned something called the Bonny method of guided imagery in music. The Bonny method is very rooted in classical music and how to use it with visualization to connect to your higher self and even connect to source, right? Mm-hmm. So I read the studies about this, and then I saw the studies that compare it to actually to LSD, where when they did studies on the brain of LSD and having these higher states of awareness, certain parts of the brain would light up. Well, that's what happens with these music programs. So they've created programs around that brain activity. So I use classical mostly, and then I use the crystal singing bowls, which is more vibratory and helps people get into their body. But I woke up to Tchaikovsky. So, you know,
Really?
Yes. It was a Disney movie. My parents were told to play things at my bedside to stimulate my mind, like, you know, childhood movies and stuff. And they picked Sleeping Beauty, and the Sleeping Beauty is, you know, Tchaikovsky, and that's what the whole movie's about. And it's 90%. So I know.
Wow, that's so cool. So, I mean, everything it left a clue for you. Everything. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. So when you've worked with people, I'm sure you've had some stories that you could tell of changes that happened. Could you share some amazing stories? Because I'm sure you have tons.
Well, one thing that's happened is when I came back from my near-death experience, I brought back beings of light with me. Or maybe I'm just better able to access them. I'm not sure. Or maybe I could access them before and I didn't know, or I don't remember before.
No, they're here. They're here. People know. Most of the time they're sitting around going, wonder if they're ever going to ask.
Are they going to talk to me? Because I'm here. I'm here and I'm helping. So
it's true.
It is. Yeah. And I think, you know, even if we don't see them like I do, we know that they're there because there are just synchronicities in life that happen. But I remember seeing the formations as I got more into this work and I started working more with my own higher self and really diving into meditation and all that. I started receiving messages within the sessions, and there have been some incredibly powerful things like animals that come through, and the animals have meaning. I've seen angels being just around the circle of people, and I've seen rows and rows of them where they're stoic and light beings that are just holding space and like an army. So I've seen a lot of that, and a lot of everyone that I've met with, you know, has had some kind of insight in connecting to their higher self. The goal here is not for me to bring people something. It's for them to connect with their own higher self and guidance. And that always happens. Many times people will see loved ones past that bring a message of hope or support or love. And I love the imagery, using the imagery of calling in all the positive things we put out in this world, you know, whether it's a prayer or a thought or a kind gesture or a loving smile or, you know, just anything that we do. And I have people call that back to them 1,000 times over and call in their ancestors and spirit guides and animal guides and higher self. And just to feel that love is sometimes all we need. Just to connect. We don't often connect with that other side of our consciousness, where we are really surrendering and we have nothing to do. We need to get out of the thinking mind into a practice where we're actually just living and being in our higher self. Yeah.
So I had a spiritually transformative experience. I haven't had a near-death experience that I know of. I think of it every day. I mean, and I imagine the people that you're helping, once they have that, it's almost like a touchstone, you know, you have that experience and you can touch into it. And every day it's like, how do you bring in more light? How do you be more love? How do you be more kind? Right?
Yeah. I think it's really an act of surrendering to it. And you know, as we meet with people and they have this experience, what's more important is to have a daily practice of something, which is why I use the oils. I use Young Living oils because they're high spiritual, high frequency. They're the highest frequency substance on the planet. So I will tell people every day to use questions and put them out there, like in affirmation with an oil, breathing it directly into the limbic system, because these oils have the ability to move through the neuron into the amygdala directly. And as a counselor and with a background in psychotherapy training, that is fascinating to me because it can shift emotion within 30 seconds and stay in the brain for 2 weeks. So what I do is I combine what I'm doing. I give people that experience and then a practice. So what do you want to work on? Okay, I am enough. Great. Take this oil, right? And then put it in the palm of your hand. And
Which oil is that? Which one is it?
Oh, well, you can use any Young Living oil that's not diluted, but this one is Panaway. It just happens to be near me because I had a little bit of like neck tension this morning. This is a good one for dissipating fear and fear, resentment, and resistance. So when I work with women who are undergoing, because there's a center for women that I worked with for a while where they were in sober living and they didn't want to be there and they had a lot of resistance at first. And even resistance to the counseling, right? So we would diffuse this one and have them breathe it. And it helps to dispel any negative feelings or you know, dissonance, right? So, but you can use any Young Living oil with intention.
I use oils a lot. I didn't do anything today, but I love rose. I just love the high frequency of rose. And and then there's people here in Boulder that make their own. They use the high quality stuff. And so I find that I use trust a lot, and that's kind of the time we're in.
I use release and surrender and acceptance a lot. So rose, interestingly, and I have this whole page about frequency and oils and music. It's called Music Therapy and Essential Oils. It's on Facebook. And we have all the spiritual stuff, all the practices. We have webinars. We even have scientists come in and talk about the brain stuff a lot. And I do free bowls in there and for our members, and you can come check it out. People can.
Wonderful. Well, Terry's asking what was the name of that oil again?
It's Panaway. And I can actually tag you on the multiple uses of it because we have spiritual uses, emotional, and physical uses as well in our group. And I was going to say the frequency of rose is in the 300s, like in the mid 300s. But did you know that and rose is expensive. Like it can cost $200 if you get a good rose oil. But there's an oil called Northern Lights Black Spruce that actually unofficially clocked in at 768 megahertz.
Okay, we're talking after this.
which is more than twice the frequency of rose. It's the highest frequency on the planet. It's grown under the northern lights in Canada. So the energy of that spiritually is amazing. And then Idaho blue spruce is in the mid 500s. So if you're looking for a less expensive way to get those high frequencies, I would suggest that. And very grounding. So not as floral, but just so you know.
So did you find, because Naropa is very traditional Buddhist, did you find that they were pretty open to, did you talk about your near death? Was it all pretty open?
Oh my goodness, it was beautiful. So Naropa was created by the Dalai Lama. It was founded by the Dalai Lama. And one message that I received on the other side that really resonated with me is that it's all love. It is all love by a different name. And, that maybe that's just what I learned. And so coming into Naropa with that philosophy was absolutely understood and accepted. It's an accredited university as well and so it was founded in these principles, and I believe it makes us all better practitioners, those that know how to use meditation and contemplative practices. Absolutely. And so now for me, it's just about that love. It's all love.
Perfect. Yeah. And the opportunity to see the other as that love and mirror that love to them. And it's almost like training wheels where you can hold the space till they see themselves as they really are without all of the obstacles or the self-talk, basically, right?
Yeah, and that was another message, this whole belief that we believe our thoughts and our thoughts create our reality. That was another big piece of this, in that everything we worry about, if I felt, when I was on that raft, all these messages came. We worry about who said what or who did what or what we're going to do or how we're going to achieve or climb the ladder. None of that matters. And it's not to say it doesn't matter. Like, I don't want people to feel that, but it means we're focusing on the wrong thing. And as humans, we do that. That's what we're supposed to do, or that's what we do. But we often forget that it's about relationship and connection and purpose, right? And so that is one of the big things that I took away with me, because I would start to think, and this is a practice that I have, and I teach everyone who uses the oils, I teach everyone in our community, if you have a negative thought, you can send it out. You can have this process of imagining it's a butterfly or imagining that you're sending it out the window, because that thought is not reality. It's just a thought. And it also can feed into our beliefs about ourselves and create all sorts of blocks. We need to realize that anything is possible, that everything is possible, that we don't even know what we can do as humans. Like, another big thing is we don't even realize, we're not even actualizing what we can do, but now we are awakening and we are able to do that. And I've been receiving a lot of messages lately, especially during this current time, that there are light armies that are awakening and working in the ethers and working at night as we sleep, and we don't even know it, but we're starting to recognize each other, right? We're starting to find each other again because we are here on a mission.
Well, this is divinely orchestrated. You got to know. I mean, the fact that I've been using, I was a beta tester for Zoom. So I've been on Zoom a long time, but if you would have had this whole lockdown, which I'm calling the pause before the reset, if you would have had this 5 years ago, you wouldn't have the technology. So everything was orchestrated. And the shutdown, which might have been initially to control and change us, it actually awakened a big portion, and we found each other. So it's like soul family, soul family, soul family, and
it's happening. Like, my soul, I had an experience during a meditation recently where my soul was shown to me, and I was reconnected with another light being that I haven't seen in lifetimes. And I was told that we got stuck in the human existence trying to, it's kind of like, anyway, between the two of us, we reconnected and our light bodies recognized each other. And I cried for 30 minutes and was channeling all this amazing information about where we are now. I mean, look at the frequency of the planet. We went from what, 60 to 200 and something? I mean, the planet is ready for us. It's really prepared for us to now take our place in the light and to be more out of fear, moving into love. Yes, exactly.
Well, I think that's what the technology has helped us all. I mean, if people travel abroad and they've had experiences with other cultures, like you studied at a Buddhist university, and experienced other things, they're not living in fear. They're living kind of in curiosity.
Yes.
And so that's what this technology, I think, has done, is it has allowed people to experience others and realize we're all just humans. I mean, the cultures may have a different flavor to it, but that anything is possible if it's done, again, with one. I kind of use that word wonder, because if you wake up each morning and wonder what's how to make it the best day yet, or how to use everything around you.
Yes.
So Terry's saying some stuff about, let me see if I can get this computer over.
Finding each other like tuning forks. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you. Thank you for reading that.
Yeah.
I'm on my second computer, so
yes, I'm happy to read it. And also, I did want to speak more to that whole messages piece, because that's something that just came to my mind, in that some people wonder, well, what is fear and what is a message that I need to listen to?
Perfect.
And what thoughts am I supposed to tune into, right? So I tell people, okay, if you're intuitive, yeah, you might have some intuitive thoughts that are helpful, but if it's attached to a feeling, it's not an intuitive message. Because if you've ever noticed with a spiritually transformative experience, or a near-death experience, or a deep meditation where you receive, or a dream that's prophetic, right? You notice there's no feeling. It's just, it is what it is. And it gives you the message that this is coming, or this is happening. But there's no feeling. So when there's a feeling attached to a thought, that's when you can say, oh, that's a thought. I reckon, good or bad, right? You know, it's in, because
perfect.
We create what we think. We create it. And even if you don't believe that, you can believe that what we give attention to in our thoughts creates what we see in the world. So as we do these deep experiences with frequency and music and imagery, or we do these questions every day, we're bringing in positive thoughts, which allow an anchor for our amygdala and our limbic brain to connect with messages out in the world that are going to be in alignment with our intention and our affirmations, right? So this is why a daily practice is so important. And then having these gradual moments of calling in our higher self and sitting with it.
Perfect. I think we're really an antenna, and that all this stuff's in the field. And when you resonate to a certain, it's like a radio dial. And if you're dialed in, then you bring in that stuff. So you can dial in low or high, and I want to do high. And I think everybody that's here wants to be high. So the reason I'm so excited about you being here is that this is Conscious Business Zone, and the conscious business leaders or workers, even if they work in somebody else's business, they don't have time to find all these great resources. So I'm so excited. So tell us how do you work with people? Is it usually, now that we're on digital, you do distance healings and
So
how does that work?
I do. Okay, so I have a huge presence and group on Facebook. So music therapy and essential oils is really the best place, because I'm in there multiple times a day with practices and tips and things you can do to raise your frequency on a daily basis. And then I see clients one-on-one, and I do workshops in Southern California all the time, and I travel. I do Zoom meetings with people all across the world. I was just working with someone in Ireland, and I hold those if you want a one-on-one meeting, and my email address is wellnessmusictherapy@yahoo.com if anyone wants info about that. But also, I've been collaborating with Jack Canfield, who wrote the book Chicken Soup for the Soul. He loves the essential oils and has brought me in as a facilitator for his next challenge. I just completed an emotional reset challenge with him, where we used crystal singing. I came in and did my imagery and crystal singing bowls. And he had his own, he facilitated once a week, and then he had his own facilitators and his team come in. And it was a powerful experience using the oils to reset our intention and live in abundance and purpose. And also to release that which was holding us back and that we're holding in the body. And it was phenomenal. So we're doing another one in October that's centered around abundance. And he wrote a book for that one, for the one that we just completed, and he's writing a book for this one.
That's great.
You can learn about that in the Music Therapy and Essential Oils group too. It is only available and will only be available to a small group of people who obviously they choose to get their oils through us, and we support them and all that. But I mean, we're there for information regardless. So if you use oils and you just want to learn how to use them, or we want to know what music to listen to, you can come to that group and at least learn the basics. So
is Young Living the source for thieves?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I have thieves. Yeah. I mean, everybody should have that in their medicine cabinet, I think.
Exactly. And that's, you talk about conscious business, and this company is, from what I found, and I've done all my research, is absolutely in alignment. They say prayers when they bottle the oils. They send people farmers home if they're in a bad mood. So that's why I chose to bring this into my business of music therapy. And it's just perfect alignment. For 5 years, it's been perfect.
That's great. That's great. So how do you see the best way to help people during this lockdown? I mean, it's just weird people walking around with masks on, and I mean, it's surreal, actually, truly.
Yes. For now, I feel like it's just about reminding people of the light and helping them move out of fear. So for me, I've been told that we don't need to convince anybody. It's just being in our own light and shining that light for others. And then giving messages of positivity and hope, and also ways to help others raise their frequency and learning together. So if you're learning about frequency or want to try these practices, to do it with other people as well, so that you're not alone, creating small groups of support and not getting bogged down in the fear. Like, there's going to be fear, but how much we feed it is really important right now.
Right. Well, I mean, most of the people that I know don't watch regular television. In fact, my daughter used to tease me that I get my news on Facebook. And it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, that's enough. but if I need to know, I'll find out. But are there other things? I mean, you mentioned breathing, you mentioned oils, you mentioned music. I mean, people could even be listening to classical music rather than rap, or music that they listen to in high school that gives them like mojo again. Joy is the missing, I think. Do you agree?
Yes. So with music, it comes down to personal preference. There's really no wrong when choosing music. You can choose music that makes you feel happy and that you really can release to and have an emotional response to. A couple things that I do that might be helpful are, every day I ask myself questions. I use 5 oils. I put Valor on my feet, Joy on my heart. I put Transformation on my wrist. Actually, it's a little bit, and then Divine Release, or Release, on the back of my head. And I use Inner Harmony too. These are all from the Freedom Sleep collection, which was created for releasing trauma and supporting growth and transformation, right? But I ask myself, as I place the oils, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? And to whom? And every day, twice a day, I do that practice. And I find it to be very powerful for helping me surrender and then begin my day and end my day in light. I also breathe the oils regularly and have them diffusing here, in harmony for my children, Joy, just to increase the frequency in the air. I do breathing techniques. I do sound. So if you use music as you're going to sleep and you have some relaxing music or meditation music, you can start yourself in an imagery practice where you place yourself in a spot that's comfortable and peaceful for you, and you just ask questions, and then you let yourself drift to sleep with that. Sometimes I use an oil for that too, like frankincense or lavender or peace and calming, that kind of thing. And again, we have tips for like millions of things you can do every day in that group, but these are a few practices that I have, and always with intention. Always, whatever you do, whether it's listening to music or meditating or using the oils, always with some intention of connecting to something greater.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, my friend Darlis is here. Hi, Darlis. Hi, Chris. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Elsie. Hi, Terry. Zach's here, and Zach has been quiet. Zach usually writes something very profound. We haven't gotten him to do that yet. But anyway, and Darlis says that she's used oils in substance abuse.
Yes, good. Well, we have an entire unit for practitioners. If you're looking for new ideas, Darlis, we have unit sections where each population, so this group was set up for healthcare practitioners originally, because I represent 30 hospitals that are using Young Living. So I go in and I talk about the physical use of how they work in the brain, how they can shift emotion, that kind of thing. And so we have all the science and all of that as well for practitioners if she wants to learn some ways. I used it with substance abuse as well, music, sound, vibration, and oils. And I have an entire practice that we and scripts and imagery that we can share too.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah. Well, and so for abundance, just a quick. I mean, I know you don't want to spill the beans because you're doing a program, but
happy to.
Mostly that you use high frequency oils to bring in abundance, or is it creativity? What kind of things do you do for abundance?
We have many that we suggest, but the main two are abundance oil, which is created for that, and then gratitude, because you can't really bring in abundance without gratitude. And that was another huge message that I received on my wrath, was that when we live in gratitude, there's no space for fear. There's no space for anger. There's no space for negativity, because many of you have probably already experienced this, where when you sit and give thanks for what you have and you're really in it, you can feel it open and expand your heart. You can feel it overflow into your energy body, right? So you're living in this light of abundance. So we actually give you a daily affirmation that's different every day with a practice. We're going to do journaling. Jack is writing a book. And and everyone will have abundance and gratitude oils that they use with other oils to help shift whatever blocks come in. And we've done this for 4 years. I've done this on my own before this collaboration, which I'm really excited about. And we've seen people have these amazing experiences of receiving money that they never thought they would have, and having these incredible opportunities come into their life during this challenge. So it's really powerful. We also have a text class where we'll send out a text a day to remind you to use what to say and what to do. And it is amazing. Yes. So, that's so great. Yes. So Darlis has studied through Gary Young, and that is amazing, because this whole emotional reset we did with Jack Canfield and his team last month, we brought in people like Pamela Hunter, people who worked with Gary Young and went to Egypt with him and learned about how the oils were used. So that's cool that she has.
She's magical.
Magical. She sounds.
Yeah. Well, actually, everyone that's on here is.
Yeah. Wait, it tends to happen. Well,
that we just sort of like attracts like here. Because we all want to utilize this pause, and help as many people wake up to their divinity and be empowered. And that's what all of this is: eating good food, getting exercise, drinking good water, and making these choices that weren't necessarily taught to us. I think you had to search for them, unless you were led by a special teacher or a guide. Not everybody is aware of their choices. And so this is the time. I mean, you have more time if you get off the boob tube and you stay off of it and off of Netflix and watching the same movies over and over again. There's so much to learn, so many opportunities to grow, and so many ways to make the world a better place with all of this, right?
So many. Yes, it's just a powerful time. And now those things that we used to have to seek out are being provided for us, this information. So anyone who comes to your calls and listens to your work or is connected to you is connected for a reason. And there's always amazing information that can come through because of that. So
well, but I see that what's okay. So I'm going to answer a question that isn't probably a normal question for you, but I really saw that we were in our own holograms and that we create our own little movie, right? So here's my little video game and I'm in it. And then now it seems like everybody's is overlapping. Are you finding, and that might be a strange way to explain it, but it's,
no, you're right. Yeah.
it seems like, oh, okay, I can overlap. It's not just unity. It's not oneness. It's a different thing where it's a dance that is so beautiful and so much higher charged than by ourselves. Are you finding that too?
Yes, it started back in 2013 for me when I made a life map, right, of where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And then the next day there was a job opportunity in San Diego. And I in the life map, I wrote, I want to be in Southern California. I want to create this. And then bam. And I was here a month later. But what I've learned since then, I know it's all, and there's so many people who've been called here as well. Like just divine calling, just showed up here, got in their car and they're here and they live here. But beyond that, it's a collaboration. And that's when I started to say, okay, well, as a music therapist, I don't have to define myself one way. I can bring in all the things that I love, all these elements, the sound healing, the crystal bowls, everything that's in alignment with my near-death experience and what I'm here to do. And that's when I started bringing in things like the oils and doing different and new things, Reiki, and which I'd known Naropa, and I had training in Holotropic Breathwork, and that was a big piece. All of these things started just coming in more and more. And then the work with the I Am discourses came to me last year. And so, but yes, it is about collaboration. It's about bringing our gifts together. And it is not about doing it by yourself. It's about and that was another message on the wrap, right? In this heaven message of it's about connection and relationship to other people and how we work together, because together we are stronger than we are alone. You know?
Well, this is the human experience. I mean, there's other levels of existence, and you experienced it with your near death. But the joy of co-creating here is at an all-time level. And I think part of it is this technology is allowing people allowing people to reconnect that may have not connected for lifetimes. Mm-hmm. If there's no distance. The time seems to be malleable, where you can have more time if you'd like for whatever you're doing. If you're in a project, you can make time stretch. And then the truths are becoming apparent, where the social constructs and the programming that our parents, God love them, they did what they thought was the best for us, but they were programmed too. And so all of that stuff, all of the truth is being revealed, and the truth of who you are, how you can be. And you don't have to have a near-death experience, you guys, to do all of this. You don't even have to have a spiritually transformative experience. You can do it step by step, because those are intense things that change your direction. But I think right now, if you're open and you're curious, things come to you like right away. I'll find that I'm on Facebook or something, and then all of a sudden I'm somewhere and I go, oh my God, look at this. This is exactly what I was thinking would be the perfect next person on my show, or they'll be in the next book for my client. Or I mean, it's just amazing how it's not just synchronicities, it's divine connection.
Divine connection. And ancestral healing. That's been a big one in my workshops lately. where people will call in the divine, they'll heal the mother wound or the father wound. And so during the workshops, it'll come up and we'll speak about it and all that. But also it was coming up in the emotion reset with Jack's team last month, because certain oils have the ability to reverse the rotation of the transcriptase enzyme on the DNA, on the helix. And that's where we hold trauma, familiar, like ancestral trauma. And it comes through our DNA. And a lot of it was a theory for so long. And, you know, Gary worked through this and believed this for a long time, but it wasn't scientifically proven until the last 5 or 10 years. Right. So now we know we have this tool that we can actually repair DNA on a cellular level, right? On the deeper level. But then we can also spiritually be connecting and healing ancestral trauma, breaking patterns and moving into new patterns. You'll notice that in this reset, in this down, people are coming out wanting new careers. They're wanting to do something different with their life. They're seeing the value because life is short, and because, you know, this life is short. And we realize the importance of now and how we can create. We realize, oh, I didn't like that job. I didn't like what I was doing. Why would I go back to that? I dread it. I want to do something that I love, something that's in alignment with me. So that's all happening. It is.
Right. Well, they had a chance to have almost like a shock of a possible death experience and realized that, oh, I'm on the wrong path. So, and that's what I think that first part of COVID, there was it's like World War III with a silent enemy. Silent, visible enemy who could be anywhere, and then you have to really go to you and clear. I've cried a lot in this 4 months clearing stuff. I was shocked, and I'm very grateful. I don't know about you, but I am very grateful how this is all worked out and the people I'm connecting with.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's a transformative few months. It's just been transformative. Everything happens for a reason, you know, and I do believe that we are all here for a reason, but all of this is happening now for us to do. So, and I see what Zach wrote. Do you want me to read it, or do you see?
I can only see half of it. I apologize. Or I could. Yeah, if you'd like to. Well, you don't have to read it all. You might want to read it and then see what you want to read of it.
Well, he does say that certain expressions of music convey emotion. So music as a language is a big part of my music therapy training, and he's speaking to that here. It's a good personal experience for him to be in a loving space. Have you found it more personal when you interview someone to find the right therapy or universal modality? Okay. So he's asking if there's so obviously there's personal preference. In music therapy, we have something called the ISO principle, where you meet someone where they are and what they like. And that really is crucial. It's not about me. It's about your experience, right? And so he's saying that music is a language, and that is not only confirmed by what we know and how music works in the brain, it can transcend language. So as you're playing music or going through a music experience with visualization, you actually can work through blocks that you can't get to when you're doing talk therapy, which is why I didn't want to go into talk therapy. I got the degree in it, but I wanted to use music as a modality because I saw such amazing shifts in people just by using the music. And though it is universal, it also has to do with personal preference. So to answer your question, it is both. And we do find that when people listen to music that they like, their heart is more regulated and steady. Cortisol levels in the blood go down, right? We know that people can sometimes speak through music when they can't otherwise. After a stroke or something, they can actually use music as a rhythmic tool. People with Parkinson's can walk to rhythm, whereas they normally shuffle their gait. So yes, it does raise the heart vibration for everyone. I use classical because it's how I channel, and it's how I woke up from the coma. And yet I also use just sound vibration as well. So trying to use kind of all of it is important.
I think sound healing. Well, the reason why I think sound healing works, which I love, I'm friends with Kimba Aram and Jonathan Goldman and some amazing healers. And what what I find is that unless it's too loud, the ego gets out of the way. So,
Yes.
so it's a way to change frequency and vibration. And it's not just background music. This is intentional tones and maybe even connections with the chakras, depending on how you do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, the bowls that I use are chakra bowls. So they resonate different parts of the body, different frequency, do different things. Whatever we can do to raise our frequency right now is really kind of my goal. I know that I'm here to do. I know that I'm here to use music. It's creating music too. So Zach was asking that. It's not just about music listening. I do that because I can do that over Zoom, right? But the real power is if you can sing or create music, then you're immersed in a creative process that really takes you out of the thinking mind and the ego. That's huge too.
So do you sing at all?
I do sing. Yeah, I do sing. I do toning. So toning is a practice of singing vowel sounds to relate to different body centers and energy centers. That's all part of my process as well. Using bowls and oils, and then toning, you can unlock the voice. You can use color. I love to bring color, light. First of all, light. To bring in the light and be connected with the light is the first part of the experience with my clients. And then having it shift colors into what they see and unlocking things in the body and moving through the vibration into a cellular level. Because at the center of our soul, of our cells, it's not empty, it's vibration, right?
Right.
So that is, yes. So light, colors, chakras, all that is all in there.
Perfect. So Zach is an incredible musician and a physicist. So that's why we may get more here. Wait,
I have something for Zach actually. If you're interested, we had a microbiologist and physicist come into music therapy and essential oils and do a webinar on how they work, how the oils work in the cell on a cellular level like this. So he might be interested in that. And then we have a frequency, because oils can't hold frequency. The liquid doesn't hold the frequency. The plants hold the frequency. And then when we use them on our body, they show that they raise the frequency of our body. So it's the oils themselves. When I talk about their frequency, it's really the plant that they're measuring. So they'll measure the frequency of love in the body and then find the plants that match that frequency, put them together, create the oil joy, right? Or sacred angel, those two. So because he has a physics background, I want to make sure that I explain that. So anyway.
Great. Okay, so I have another question. So when you're working with somebody and you're giving them a recipe for success or a recipe to increase their vibration, have a happier life, but also connect. I think it's a lot of soul embodiment now.
Yeah.
Right? Do you do anything about diet also, or is it?
Yes,
all of that too.
It tends to. That's not my expertise. My expertise is obviously emotion, and I've got the brain connection that I love, and I love the science, and I love the teaching part. However, the gut brain connection is powerful. So obviously eating a cleaner diet is crucial. I don't go into that. I have a business partner that talks about that. When people are interested in our group, he'll come in and speak to that. We have chiropractors and nutritionists and things like that in the group that will speak to that. And we do have, cooking recipes with oils and things like that will help. But I don't go specifically into the food, but it is crucial. I don't speak to it, but our group does, our team does.
Well, the reason why I asked is that I found that a lot of the people that are talking about the fifth dimension, bringing in the fifth dimension, that they're talking about that this is the time to clean up the body, that the spiritual stuff, the body, if you want to embody, and so the frequency of the physical has to be done. So it's not in the old days, but 20 years ago, people kept talking about getting out of the body, get out of the body. I want to ascend, and it's really descend This is the game. To bring as much of that into this as possible, and hold that, and then use the light, and then use the frequency, right?
Yes, and my work with the books, with the I Am discourses, has really unlocked a lot for me. In that, last year I got a call from someone, from Lilia, and she said, "I was told to call you. I saw your near-death experience on YouTube 3 years ago. I was told to call you by the Ascended Masters. Can you come to this conference on the East Coast? It's in 2 weeks." And I said, "Oh, I think I can. I think I can." So then I made it to the conference. I said, if I can come and do the oils and speak about spirituality, it'll be a write-off, and I can be there, and I can. Yeah. That's how I got there. And
oh my gosh, I was there. I'm sorry I didn't meet you in person. I know. I was teaching. I loved that. It was a great conference.
Yeah. And so as I'm there, I remembered I placed this question into the universe. What are the angels trying to tell me? Because they show up in different formations now in my workshops, and I don't know what it means, but they're there, and I love it. Yeah. And Buddha and Jesus have come back to me since, right before I went to IAMS last year, actually. And so as they came through, and as I started learning, she comes up to me on the last day, and she has 3 books. And she says, "I was told to give these to you by Saint Germain."
Which books was it? Because I have them.
It's the I Am Discourses, volumes 1 through 3. But here's what she said.
Is it blue? Green? Okay.
They're green, and they were like 100 years old. As she hands them to me, I felt this energetic exchange and whoosh, an amazing download, and I cried. And she said, this is what she said. She said, "These are going to tell you what the angels have been trying to show you." So that's what she said.
Perfect.
And it gets back to what you were saying about food, because as I started to read the books, it's not about religion. It's about love and light and bringing in the light for yourself. And you get them from the Saint Germain Press, right? That's how you get these, because there are counterfeits out there. As I'm reading the books, she mentioned that the Ascended Masters check in on you, and they kind of, support you. I was told to stop eating meat. I've never not eaten meat. I mean, this must have been a year ago now. And I received that message. And so, because we pick up the energies of the animals, and so you're right, people are being called and things are shifting, sometimes without even knowing why. And all I'm doing is I'm listening and I'm receiving and I'm trying to follow the guidance, right? And since then, so much has happened. Like I got an invitation to be on the Dr. Oz show, and it didn't work out because of the timing and getting me there and everything. But just things tend to open up the more that you surrender. And yes, the food piece is a huge one, and trying to eat more consciously.
Well, it's funny because I have not all of the Saint Germain books, but Darwis does too. I mean, I use them every day.
Yes, me too.
Yeah. It's amazing energy, and you can sort of tell. Yeah. But anyway, we don't want to forget to talk about the IAMS event that's coming up this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah. And I actually don't have. Let me go get the. Would you mind talking about it while I go get the URL?
Yeah, so the IANS conference is the International Association for Near-Death Studies, and they do a conference every year. This year is coming up. It's a virtual conference, and I'm sure that you guys will receive the link here from Kathy, but we have incredible speakers that are coming in to talk about their journey and the messages that they received in their own experiences and how it may help you to live a more conscious and a purposeful life. I'll be coming in on Sunday at 2 to talk about the messages that I received on the raft from the other side and how they can be used for healing for my life first, and also for the lives of those who listen. Hopefully can be helpful. There'll be a question and answer period at the end. There'll be multiple panels, lots of people who were in the new release of the movie that Craig McMahon put out, and I'm going to be in the sequel, the video that I submitted. Yeah, so I submitted a video for that. I was part of that collaboration, but the sound quality wasn't good enough for it to be published on Amazon. So we're discussing potentially working together for him to come here and record it. But so that it's going to be a great conference. Did I leave anything out? You can.
Well, I don't know. I get to MC on Sunday. I don't know if I get to help on your talk.
Oh, that would be so
good. Look at my schedule. but you guys, honestly, this is an amazing group of people that give you. It's fascinating, the stories. Yeah. Each story opens up some other possibility to you to see your superpowers. It's not just basic reading. The other thing is, you mentioned a little bit about how quickly you healed after you had your near-death experience. And that is amazing. Even Alexander, who's an MD, he was a neurologist, he had a bacterial, I think, infection where it affected his brain. And back before he had his near-death experience, he believed, and he was taught in school, that your brain's tissues don't grow back. You're out of luck. Yeah. Well, he's brilliant, and he's written several books, and he speaks all over the world, and it grew back. And so, I mean, this is what you have to think of, is that we have so much more capacity to change what we have here than we know.
Yes. And the act of playing music is one of the only things that has been shown to regenerate brain cells. I asked this, I know this because I studied it for myself, wondering how I could recover. And then things that cross the blood-brain barrier, like oils, for me, are another piece, because then I can actually feel like I'm repairing, potentially supporting my brain in that way. Because yes, so he was a doctor and he had that experience, and it's amazing. I had the benefit of youth, you know, because a young brain will recover much more quickly than an adult brain will. But yeah, it's kind of, these miracles happen.
But the thing is also, everyone that I have known through this organization, I've been a member for 3 or 4 years and a volunteer. Everyone is a superstar. It's like they had this experience and they went for it, instead of, you know, the victimization or, oh, poor me, I can't do anything. They're on the total other, they're experiencing themselves as their God self.
Yes.
And why not, right?
Why not? We can all do that. We all have that ability. And I think it just gives you perspective when you are able to be in that place. You just say, hey, there is something bigger. There is something amazing that we're all a part of, that we can really tap into. We don't have to have that kind of experience to do it. But when you listen to the stories, you pick up, you ride on the coattails of these stories, and you hear what's possible, and you recognize that you are possible of so much more than you thought. It's almost like coming home, right?
It is. Yeah. And it's so heartfelt. I love all of it. I've learned so much. I've gotten words. I've gotten ways to explain things that I just felt I could never come up with words for things. Mm-hmm. So, and everyone, I've got the conference URL on the screen. It's virtualconference.ions.org, and I'll put it all in the description. So, but thank you so much, Ellen. Maybe I will be with you on Sunday. I didn't memorize. I'm kind of one of those people that, what do you need? I'll
just show up. I'll just show up.
Well, I'm delighted. I'm so delighted to meet you. I'm delighted that you're going to be in this conference, and that you're going to help so many people. Thank you so much. And again, could you tell one more time the best ways to get a hold of you, so that everyone will take advantage of learning what you know?
Yes, absolutely. You can reach me at Wellness Essential Oils wellnessmusictherapy@yahoo.com. Wellnessmusictherapy@yahoo.com. I don't see my emails as often as I see Facebook messages. So you can find me on Facebook. I'm Ellen Whealton. Even better, you can check out our group Music Therapy and Essential Oils. You can request access to it, and then I will invite you, add you in, and then tag you on things that are specific to what you want to know. And I have a website, Wellness Music Therapy, but it's very outdated, so I need to get on that. And then you can find, I have a publication in the St. I always get it wrong. It's St. Edward's publication for a medical journal that they just came out with. We're talking about how practitioners can support those who have had a near-death experience.
Oh.
So I can put the link here to all of these things if that helps.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, but you're gonna watch Ellen, because Ellen's gonna help thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and you got to meet her here. Yay! Yay, Lilia! Thank you. And, for me too. I mean, we're all being so guided. It's so
we are. Yeah, we are so lucky. Oh my gosh, the network that we have created. You can see that we're all coming together to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
You are a light. We are all light beings. Just. It's incredible the opportunity that we have right now.
Yes. Okay, well, we're out of time, so I'm gonna have to sign off. But I'm sure we'll talk again. I'm sure. In fact, I already know something we can do. But anyway, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Please share if you found this helpful, so we can help more people. Please share.
Yeah.
Thank you.